So she's been sitting for a while, as you can tell. We've got the transmission in there, but we're not using that one. She is definitely dirty. Cleaning the outside was kind of pointless, but alright, so here we have our, it's an 88 or 89 Civic Wagon. It is a EE4. It is the RT. The whole rear end has been ripped out and sold, so it is not going to be a four-wheel drive anymore, although we do have a four-wheel drive transmission. So maybe one day somebody will find a new rear end and a drive shaft to put into it, but that is not the job that I was hired for. My job is to remove this transmission and install this motor. It is a D16A6 with an RT 5-speed or 6-speed all-wheel drive transmission. This thing is not in the best of shape. It's got some surface rust. EE4. That thing's rusted to shit. There's rust over here. But it's really not that dirty. I mean, it kind of was, but I sprayed it down and cleaned it up pretty good. But like I said, my job is to get the engine in and get it running, and that's basically it. Now, it does have the four-wheel drive rear trailing arms, and so I'm gonna have to put the cap of a axle in there to keep the wheel on, because right now the only thing holding it on is basically the wheel hub pressed into the bearing. As you can see, it was originally blue. Now it's been primered gray and it looks awful. The body's not in horrible shape, but it is full of Bondo. They took these mirrors off and looks like they Bondoed that up. Didn't do a very good job. And then they stuck these fender mirrors on here. Not my favorite thing in the world, but it is what it is. But as you can see, the body's in pretty good shape. There's no rust, although it is full of Bondo. I mean, you can clearly tell this is all Bondo. It's already starting to rust again right here. The back hatch has been all primered as well. And I think this hinge right here is broke or starting to break. It's full of sticks. I'm gonna try to open that up and spray some silicone spray in there to try to maybe fix this hinge. And then you can also see over here tons and tons of Bondo. But I mean, overall the body's not in horrible shape. The interior, on the other hand, is in terrible shape. Terrible shape. It's definitely been sitting for a long time. It's got tons and tons of cobwebs in it. She's got 210,000 miles on her. The windshield is cracked. Even the back seats are ripped to shreds. And then of course the headliner has the cracks all the way down, but that's typical. But all the door cards, they look like they're in really good shape. It looks like it's got aftermarket rear lower control arms. And you can see that there's no drive shaft and the rear diff has been robbed. That is unfortunate. But the underside doesn't look like it has any rust. Looks like somebody took a jack stand and put it right here and dented the hell out of the bottom of it. You can see the frame rail here. It's splitting. Looks like it's dented right there in the door. The rear door card's in pretty good shape. We've got some parts here. And this engine will be going into it. It looks like it's from a 90 RT four-wheel drive wagon. It is a D16A6. And she is dirty. She needs to be cleaned up really good, because we are going to clean up the engine bay and strip it down and paint it. the owner told me to go crazy, do something weird, do something out of the ordinary. And so, you know, I've got a color in mind of what I want to paint it, but you know, that's going to be a surprise. We'll talk about that once we get this cleaned up and we start painting it. So I guess the first thing we really need to do is get this transmission out. I would like to take that subframe out of there and clean it up and repaint it black. There's a lot I would like to do. I've been given pretty much free will to do whatever I want, and so it really boils down to time constraints. But you can see over here the AC has been ripped out, so there's no AC. And as far as the power steering, I do not have a power steering pump. There isn't one on the engine. There's not one in the car. So we might just loop that and not even have power steering. All right, so here's what we got. We got the radiator and the fans. The radiator looks like it's in terrible condition. We have an extra intake manifold. There's one installed on here, but it doesn't have the throttle body, so we have one right here. But because we have no map sensor that's usually connected here, I think we're gonna have to go to the junkyard and find a throttle body that has a map sensor built into, or that's attached to the throttle body, because that would just be easier anyway. And then we have our piece that goes here. There's our bumper, and there weren't any bolts for the OEM traction bar, so we're gonna have to source those from the junkyard. Looks like that's been cut, but I think we have that. Actually, we have all of this. So we have that part, and we have this hose. The radiator hoses we don't have. We have the upper, and it looks like it's, yeah, it feels okay. We don't have the lower. We don't have the power steering pump, but again, we don't have the power steering pump cooler. So we'll probably just loop that. We've got a wiring mess over here. Not sure what's going on over here. But you know, if I have time, I want to remove all this wiring and run it through the inside of the fender. The same thing with this side. Maybe we can relocate the box under the dash, and because it does have a battery box relocation to the back hatch, we can probably straighten all this out and fix that. The charcoal canister has already been deleted, so no need to worry about that. I'm not sure if it's been deleted or just ripped out. Looks like we have a bolt for all of our mounts though. We got one there, we got that one. The bolt is in there, and there is not one for up here. We have two ECUs. One of them is a PM6, and this one is a P06. So if he wants to go OBD1, then we have a ECU for that, but we'll probably just stick with 0. We have an owner's manual over there, or a service manual over there. We've got this valve cover that goes to like a D16 Z6 or a Y8, or I don't know, Y7. Then we have an A6 one here. There's a timing belt there. Not sure if it's any good. We've got our T-bracket, basically, that's what that is. Got some injectors. And then back here we have our rear springs, rear lower control arms. We have another manifold up here. We have some four-wheel drive mud flaps, and then some just random bits in here. Looks like we got a bolt for that front mount. We got a couple extra mounts in here. We have a half of a shift linkage, but which we don't need because it's cable. We have the AC compressor, where we don't need because it's broke. But yeah, this car is pretty toast. All right, so let's get our list together of what we need that we can grab from a junkyard, and we will return. Well, I found this one. It's missing the map, and the TPS is broke, and the fast idle thing is been broke, so that's worthless. All right, here's a 97, and it's the wrong throttle body anyway, but it is missing. Here is another Y8, and it's missing the throttle body. I don't understand what's going on here. Why is everybody taking the throttle bodies? All right, and here's another one missing the throttle body. I'm not understanding what's going on here. All right, well, on to the next one. All right, so the junkyard was kind of a dud. Every single one of those throttle bodies was missing, but we did get the 83 SI molding. We got the whole set, and we got 3 of the 4 bolts we need for the wagon. So we're missing one. I'll just have to find something. I pulled one off of an Accord, but it was too big. Pulled one off of a newer Civic, but it was too big. So we'll figure it out. But I'm gonna head home and work on some more of the wagon. But I'm gonna end this video right here. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you all in the next video.